important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.
Remember, we're really trying to reveal the simple problems, because they are. They're very complex, but they're simple. The reactions, as you can see, is the truth. And simple solutions is the key to the new world. They can't be complex. If they're complex, again, what do you do when you're confused? Nothing. Nothing. You can't. Does anybody want to help me with the PowerPoint, maybe? Anybody want to do a finger? You want to do, Jeff? Okay. Oh, just the arrow on the left and right, and then just put it to the next slide for me. What was that? You know, I had a question before. What do you do about taking aluminum out of your body? And I was saying, how about stop putting it in? Okay, everybody's trying to detox. How about stop detoxing and really look at this as a reality? How would you think you're going to detox your body if you have 10 rivers going to this thing called the lake that you haven't even realized yet that are polluting the lake? Oh, I want to clean the lake, but you don't realize that the rivers are polluting the lake, so it'd be really not a good, how do you say it, really effective way to be able to really get healthy. You're going to spend a lot of energy, and by the time you really sort of figure out a lot of things, you'll be burned out before you can get to the next ring. So aluminum is a big problem. Aluminum's in everything. It's in your underarm deodorant, it's in your water supply, it's in your salt. It's in the air, as they say, in chemtrails, being sprayed in nano form. It's in many of the different makeups. It's in a lot of different solvents and a lot of different cleaning liquids. Aluminum is just one of the heavy metals, or what I call the toxic metals, that go into our body. Now let's say you're saying, how do I get the aluminum out? How about fill your body full of nutrition so aluminum doesn't have a space to be able to find its way into your brain? Okay? Radiation's the same thing. Iodine 131 only attacks your thyroid if your thyroid doesn't have iodine. So full nutrition is the smart way to be able to stay healthy. And most people are eating demineralized, hybridized, genetically modified foods which have no source at all of nutrients. Glenn Calkins has a good talk on this, and we're gonna have a few. How much time do I have anyway, so I can? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I know I live here, but you know. Okay. Aluminum is, first of all, remember, where does aluminum go in the body? Have you ever heard where aluminum goes? Brain. Aluminum goes to the brain. And why would it go to the brain? Okay, these guys are good. Silicon is a +3 charged cation. Aluminum is a +2. The body has no idea that aluminum is different from silicon. It's key. Remember, look at the ingredients on salt. Aluminosilicates. Woohoo! Okay? To me, see, as an alchemist or a scientist, mixing aluminum with silicon would mean it's going to the brain. That's really, really, really tricking the brain. The brain is a silicon chip. It's a crystal. Your computer runs on silicon. You upgrade Silicon Valleys for what? Computers, chips. Silicon is very important for regeneration. We have silicon, special types of silicon. Most people say, why do I need to take silicon? Because it's how your body regenerates. It's how your brain has memory. It's how you could actually become a little more human, is to increase your silicon content. And if you lose it, then you lose your ability to absorb, as we were talking about before, illumination and light. What do you make solar panels out of? Silicon. What does that mean? See, in order for you to become more of a light being or illuminated being, you have to be able to absorb and be conductive. And that's why, are you ready for the shift?
Teach, young man.
Are you ready for the shift? And what it means is that your body's conductive to the shift. That's all it means. You can't be ready for the shift. Tank load the jump program. Nobody's ready for the shift. And if you say you are, it's only because you're just trying to really sort of look at it as maybe you feel that you know what you're doing, but you really don't, because it's not really cool to not feel what you know what you're doing, especially when you're an adult. You're supposed to know it all. Well, this is what we do. First of all, this is why we came up with Earthshift. Earthshift is it's a wholesale club where we find a lot of products that come from around the world. And remember, it's all wholesale. You're trying to upgrade your food supply and your fuel liquid supply, so you can increase your amount of conductivity to that big, huge ball that's manipulating our sun, that's manipulating our solar system, that's manipulating us, right down the line. Each cell inside our body has a little mitochondria. What's true love to the body? Outside the body, we know we can never find it. What's true love to the body?
Open heart.
This is open heart, okay? True love to the body, you have 100 trillion cells. Okay? Do you know that? Remember, everything follows the Cupid doll again. You have 46 chromosomes. Remember, this is the age of the revealing. 46 chromosomes, right? And you go 0, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. And you keep doing that 46 times. You get a magical number. You get as many stars are in that galaxy, and you get as many cells that's in your body. 100 trillion. Get the calculator out and do it in binary sequence 46 times. So once we really find out that our body's just this sort of like holographic mathematical model, all we have to do is stay in tune with what's being thrown to us. And how can you stay in tune with electrical magnetic fields, Wi-Fi, all the alternating currents, because our bodies are direct current beings. We don't run on alternating current. This light is run on alternating current. It is not what we are. We are direct current beings, grounded to the earth. We thrive on direct current, and we pretty much get fractalized when we go into the city and live in 60-cycle electricity. Let's go to the next one there, Jeff. So are you ready for the shift? Basically just tells me that you have to know what the shift's about. It's very simple. Once you see that this is true, that the system is changing, then all of a sudden your mind says, this is what my new purpose is, to stay in tune, to stay in attunement. And you hear a lot of these old literature. The literature, to me, of the past is way more crucial than the BS that's been throwing to us right now. Okay? So this is where you see all the truth. Spaceweather.com every morning. And over the last 2 weeks, we've had huge solar flares. Every time a solar flare goes off is because the sun is redistributing its new energy. It sends out certain plasma flares to the bubble that we call the solar system, and everything upgrades. Remember, there's not a place in the solar system to hide. There's not a place on the planet, really, to hide. You have to change yourself from the inside out. That's the game. Let's go to the next one. We all know about this global warming. See, to me, that's a farce. That's one piece of the game. It's actually solar system, not warming, but terrain modification. Let's go to the next one. And you can see, just by Greenland's ice packs melting, everything's changing. It's being stepped up to a new tune. Since it's got more energy, that would tell you that you'd have more illumination. More illumination means more power. More power means more, as what they're putting on, is more light. And more light means that there's going to be massive changes on the planet. Let's go to the next one here. Okay, just want you to see the size just so you can see the difference. Look at the size of the Earth compared to the sun, and that's a solar flare. Look at the size. And you can see the solar wind is totally kicking out all the time and constantly manipulating the Earth and anything that swims through its plasma. What I do once a week to stay in tune is I go on about an 8-mile barefoot hike. I stay grounded to the ground. Every day I try to look into the sun, but looking into the sun is very dangerous, so don't do that. A lot of people are doing that, and you're going to ruin your vision. The sun is very powerful right now, especially if it's shooting out solar flares or plasma. Your eyes, most of them can't take it. So if you want to really look at the sun, close your eyes and look at the sun. And you can do it anytime during the day. Try to do it for about 5 minutes twice a day. It's the best thing you could ever do, and if you can, take your shoes off and ground yourself in the dirt. And you look into the sun with your eyes closed. These are your solar panels. Remember, the plant is a crystalline being. And if we want to be silicon-based, which would mean we're more plant-based, it means we'll be able to be good solar panels. So when we have a lot of junk that lives under our skin, it shields us from the illumination. So getting lean is actually getting clean, and getting clean is getting lean so you can be ready for illumination. Our skin is only paper thin. Everything beyond that is baggage. I lost 40 pounds of baggage. Okay, a lot of baggage came off this machine. And all that baggage, all needed to be fed, and all needed to be serviced, and all needed to be taken care of. And I can tell you one thing, because, you know, if you really think, because a lot of people are doing a lot of really killing cleanses, and they're doing a lot of manipulation, really, that I used to do a long time ago. I was a hunter, and if it moved, I can kill it. Like in the predator, if it breeds, if it bleeds, we can kill it. Okay? Parasites, remember, aren't to be killed. They're to be terrain modified. You don't try to kill what lives inside you that was born inside you because it's your child. It's a total reverse of what you really think. Oh, it's a parasite? Well, where do you think it was born? It only lives inside us is because we have the anchor so it can live. And once it does, it manipulates our DNA so it can live within us unknown to the host. So it's actually part you. Oh, it's part it too, but it's part you. So we have a little dilemma here. We have a lot of things that have found their way inside this costume, and in order for us to be illuminated, we have to really get on track. Part of what we can do in a little bit is I want to bring Glenn up here, and we want to show you some of, Glenn Calkins has a clinic over in Laguna Hills. Everybody needs to do yoga. It's one piece of the pie. Yoga means union, doesn't it? Remember, love within the body means all your cells touch each other electronically and magnetically. That's true love. When your cells all touch each other, that means now you have the capacity to be able to terrain modify yourself to it. And that's what they call that thing, because no one knows what it is. It's just the sun to us. Let's go to the next one here. Sun unleashes huge solar flare towards Earth. The sun has unleashed a huge solar flare. What does that mean? No one really understands any of this stuff because it's not really known to most people. Because wouldn't you think if the mainstream information that's being put out there right now could tell you that possibly, most likely in the year 2011 and 2012, once we get close to the repolarization of the sun, that we may get a huge solar flare that'll knock out the whole worldwide electrical grid like that? Plasma comes out in billions of gigavolts and comes down and goes to the north and the south pole. We call it the aurora borealis. And they go through and light up the poles because that's a lot of power. You ever heard of the aurora borealis? Electronic plasma going through the north and south pole. We're just like the planet. We have a left and right brain, north and south pole. It's just all up top, even though we have a north and south pole connection. This brain here, remember, as above, so below. If it's lacking silicon, there's no illumination, there's no information, there's no new coding. So just because you look in the sun, just because you eat, now you're vegetarian. Vegetarian most likely means you're B vitamin deficient. Most likely you're eating still GMO hybridized foods. Okay, it's a start. But most people really have no idea what to do because we don't. Remember, we're all students. So what we do today, we know in 10 years is not what we're going to do. Has anybody done the same thing for 10 years? If you have, most likely you haven't grown too much. Okay? Let's go to, we're going to skip across a lot of these here. Well, get ready for global Katrina. This is a news article. You don't see these around too often, so you got to sort of snatch them when you can and see them. Biggest ever solar storm could cause power cuts, which will last for months. How many people have food for 3 months? How about the average person has 9 meals and after that you're done? How many have food for 3 months? Anybody? Okay. How about water for 3 months? Glenn's got food for 3 months. Why? Because you don't have to eat that much too, do you? Why? Because you've been sustainable. You've changed your whole body. I used to eat 6 meals a day. And I used to think it was good for me because my parasites were calling me all the time. And I just did what they wanted me to do. Now, do you know there's a little rule here. How many minutes does it take? It's the 3 rule. 3 minutes, you stop breathing, you're out of here. 3 days, no water. Body's a water machine. 3 days, no water, you're out of here. Okay? 30 days, no food. And that's if you're in pretty good shape. Most people are loaded full of parasites, and if you don't feed the critters, they're going to complain big time. Not only are they going to complain, they're going to actually sort of cease to exist, and they're going to maybe decease themselves too quickly in the flesh tissue, which will cause you severe sickness. It's called Herxheimer syndrome. 3 minutes, no air. 3 days, no water. 30 days, no food. So it'd be pretty smart for us in a group. This was one of the talks we did at the Big Island. You have a group of people over there that really want to be sustainable, but still nobody's working together. Nobody's working together. Because remember, triality consciousness hasn't been written, has it? We're still in duality. You're still you, I'm still me, she's still you, and we haven't figured out what we're all being breathed by the same thing. Call it spirit, you can call it whatever you want to. I just call it the thing. Spirit's a nice name too, but once you really look at it, it's a thing. Can't explain it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, let's go to the next one. Do you know how many things have been falling out of the sky? Birds, fish, things that have been just losing their magnetic ability to be able to navigate? This is the magnetic change. If you look on the internet, you'll see that the magnetic system, Glenn and I have been following this for a long time, the magnetic system is dropping down to this lowest amount that we've ever recorded ever. The vibration of the planet is rising up on the other direction more than we at this time has ever recorded. Now, if you look at an ECG, and let's say now you smoke a little cannabis.
Amen, brother.
Okay? What happens to your brain? Remember, you're on an ECG. 11:11. Both brains now are working at the same time. Whoa. So if you feel a little weird if you smoke cannabis or what's called Santa Maria, it just means that your brain was really desynchronized, and when it became synchronized, all of a sudden it felt desynchronized. Okay? Sort of weird. Remember, all it is a synchronization of the brain. Forget about how it does anything else. It's just a wavelength. Now, orgasm. Where does that take your brain? How many cycles per second?
I don't know.
Okay, some of you guys have heard this before. Okay, 6.66 cycles. If you get an ECG, have an orgasm, watch the machine. Have someone watch it for you. And you'll see 6 cycles is right here. 7 cycles is right here. 8 cycles is right here. The heart, toroid. 9 cycles is right here. 10. Get up to 10 cycles. People don't hear you. They start to feel you. Throat chakra is activated. 11 cycles. 12 cycles. And 13 cycles is where the planet is right now. Most of the planet is 13 cycles. And like I said, I don't know too many people that are 13 cycles. And you can't check your collective how many cycles per second you have. Okay? So now, Glenn has done a lot of research with manipulating magtricity. It's a word he came up with. I like it. It's the magnetic body and the electric body, and it's a biological being that's invisible, that controls your aura, which controls the way your body actually sees reality. It decodes reality by the amount of electrical stimulation your aura has. So if you really want to see, what do? You have to increase your magtricity. How did you do that, Glenn? A lot of experimentation, didn't you? He's playing. Look, he's got 2 rocks in his hand, too. Hey, wait a minute. I got a crystal in one pocket, and I've got a meteorite lodestone in the other.
Meteorite, sweet.
And I'm wearing one right here. And if I had a magnet, I think it would snap right to it. This is a low voltage DC current generator to give this machine, which Mark was saying before Daniels, this machine I call the Cyborgus Organicus. It's an organic cyborg, and you own one. You don't have the manual, but...
You survived when you got a snake attack. What happened to you just the other day? Please
Well,
explain to everybody what happened.
You know, the only thing I can verify is all this food and all these things that we've been doing is to really have some really very high level things happen to you and see what happens to your body. How does it fend when it gets poisoned? Remember, if you got iodine 131 and you breathed it in and you have a lacking of thyroid iodine, the iodine 131 goes into your thyroid and starts giving you a suntan. Burns your thyroid out. If you had full nutrition, oh, it's probably going to find another spot in your body, but it didn't at least find the thyroid. It's going to go find itself a binding site. And iodine really doesn't bind too many places.
So what happened?
Okay, so he's asking me about what happened to the snake bite. That's sort of a long story, but I got bit by a viper. And a viper has a twin venom. And in about 20 minutes, if you get bit by a twin viper, you can't move your legs. They get weak.
Who drove to the hospital?
Well, I got bit, and just in a few seconds, I went ahead and actually, my friend said, go ahead and suck the blood, suck the poison out of it, under the sink. And as I did, I got bit in the mouth at the same time because the pit viper has a neurological venom. It's very mucosal activated. Doesn't need much, like a cobra spitting in your eyes and you can wear glasses. If it hits your skin, it really doesn't get you. But if it gets into your mucosal, you're in trouble. So what happened was I got bit, tried to pull out the venom. I put it in my mouth, and of course, 2 seconds later, that started to burn and started to actually have sharp pain. So now I was bit in the hand and bit in the mouth. Ran to the hospital, took a big tablespoon of MSM, put in about maybe 2 squirts of fulvic acid in my mouth because I knew that could have neutralized this venom that was in my mouth now. And the venom, remember, what it does is it totally neurologically paralyzes anything it touches. So my mouth was like this, and it was dripping spit immediately. Now, 20 minutes I was in the hospital. I open up the door, I try to walk out, my legs wouldn't move. They would, but they're weak. So I had to have the security guard and someone else help me get in. 20 minutes after that, my whole body was in tetany. Tetany meaning I couldn't move anything. My mouth was open, dripping spit out of my mouth. I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me. I had 2, 3 heads on people. It takes antivenom to reverse what we call the neurotoxic venom. And so even if you live through this antivenom, you now have this problem called compartmental syndrome, where everything that the venom touches, it dies. So what happened was that my upper body, you can see, look. I mean, I'm really lean.
There you go, baby. Come
yeah, so my body, is very lean, and I didn't have too many creatures inside me. Now, if I would have got bit in the leg, my skin down here is a lot thicker. And I'm working on this part over here. I've been working on my body, reestablishing, trying to get healthy for many years. Remember, I'm 50 years old. I've put a lot of poisons in this machine. So the venom went through, and it went through my arm, swelled it up this big, all the way through with a big softball under here. And if anything is in its way, all the breast cancers, remember, upper outer quadrant, lymph glands, plugged. So all the critters that were living in there, if they were, died. 3 days later, usually what happens is you get a prescription to go see a plastic surgeon to see if they can clean up all the dead tissue. It's called compartmental necrotic syndrome. I didn't get any. Look, it's only been 3 weeks. I should have lost my finger pretty much. This is a pit viper. I should have damage in my arm, cuts, bruises. I mean, I have no change at all in a negative way. And it's only because, really, that the detoxification that I've been doing for about 5 years has massively changed the way my body is sustainable. So if I get sick, I think I'm getting too much echo here. If I get sick, it's only because the same thing. It's because my body didn't have full nutrition, and it had way too many creatures living within my life stream. So changing the conductive flow can only be done very easily by manipulating the energy, like what Glenn's holding in his hand. Have you found out that to be very beneficial? Why are you even holding those rocks? You look like a nut.
Yeah.
Galileo always held the stone as he publicly spoke.
Yeah.
I won't leave home without my stone. What does this do for me? It grounds me, and I don't even have to be grounded.
Vibration so beautifully. And so this is to answer a question that everyone had. Yes, we do have these stones that we're going to be putting together in a necklace today.
Yes.
And this is absolutely a miracle, a walking miracle. I studied in India. We saw 100 snake bites, and most people had to lose fingers, had to lose arms. There's one thing that you walk away with. Be strong to be useful, but be strong for yourself. Robert is the living master, the alchemist of utilizing all the information, all the technology that is available. He is actually using it, and it shifted. Had he not done that, yeah, a big round of applause.
You know, it's a big experiment. Everybody's their own experiment. I'm my own experiment. I've poisoned myself my own special way. Dr. Sarah's her own experiment. Everybody's their own individual. I can't tell you what to do. Number one, it's illegal. And number two, I couldn't. I'd be a charlatan. Okay? Everybody's individually different, but I know what you need to do, but I can't tell you what to do. But I know what you need to do. You need to stop poisoning yourselves, find out where it's coming in, remineralize yourself, deacidify yourself, reconnect yourself back to the sun, and start to share your gnosis. It's not knowledge, it's gnosis. You get gnosis from the sun. You don't read it from a book. Gnosis means you know. And how did you know? You just know. Knowledge means nothing more. You learned. It's the mind trying to figure out something it doesn't know.
So will you answer questions a little bit later on? We're going to be talking about Demon. And then, again, you can follow him around. It's so beautiful to follow him and this information. All of what we shared today is going to be on the internet. So taking this, if you want your friends to have it, tag it, Facebook it, send it out so that we're mammals. We are a family that thrives on connection.
On the heart.
And our heart, one of the things that will have shifted today is every heartbeat here has a receptor of every other heartbeat that's been here. We are receiving that information, and it's aligning our upper and lower bodies, and our heart has been beating long before we came into this physical form. We still don't know, with all the science, exactly what causes it to beat. Your heart knows 30 seconds before something bad is going to happen. We've done the science and the research. Your heart will know before an image comes up on the screen. This is HeartMath that did all this great, brilliant research. 30 seconds before it comes on a screen, your body will react faster or slower. At some level of your being, what you're sensing, you already know everything before it becomes a thought in your brain. Some level of your body knows that.
Yeah, there's different rings. Think you're living in different rings, and the slowest ring that you have right now is the one that you call the ego. It knows nothing. And that's the one you're actually trying to dissolve, not kill, just dissolving it into the new self. It's the next self. Remember, the ego started down here. It worked its way up to here. And it worked its way up into here. And if you wear sunglasses, remember, you got to open up the light. Don't hold the darkness. It took me 2 years to get off sunglasses. You go to an indigenous country or a country that has nothing. Do you see anybody wearing sunglasses there? Once you wear sunglasses for 2 or 3 weeks, a lot of times what happens? You get black mold in your system. It's very hard to get out. So,
and your brain, your nervous system is connected, your brain, all of it through your eyes. But we are going to talk about this more tomorrow, organic health. Robert's going to speak again. Part 2 of this is tomorrow. Today, we are going to do yoga back in the Sacred Movement tent as well. And we are going to continue this talk, more prizes. That lower chakra, that activation, sacred feminine, sacred male energy. This is a gift, again, that we really, really want you to get. When you're able to honor who you are in this form, in this lifetime. So James Beard is going to come up, Dr. Parthenia. Again, we have about a 10-minute break. We're going to change out mics. And is there anything, I want to just thank you. Can we all thank Robert for this amazing...
This PowerPoint's 5 hours long. And I've done this, and you can look up earthshiftproject.com and go watch a couple different ways that I've done this. Now, there's a lot of really good information for you to investigate. Don't believe me. If you believe me, you're maroon. Okay, you're not supposed to believe. You're supposed to share, learn, teach, but don't believe. Investigate. And then you ignite yourself and ignite others to unravel this sort of new way that we're really trying how do we work together? That's not easy to do because we've never done it before, have we? Look at all the fighting that's happened over the last just couple thousand years. So, and this is where, look, the fighting, once it stops, this will just be like 2 minutes. This is really understanding. We have a pentagonic brain. And if we want to become one with ourselves, we can become one with everything. You have 5 brains, and our job at this time is to put all 5 brains and make them one. I've talked about this before. Reptilian brain. We have a mammalian brain. Reptilian is interdimensional. Mammalian is heart-oriented. Bird is magnetic. Amphibian is water, breathed in mom's womb. Unactivated human. I hear some people say we're humans. Well, we are. Unactivated. We're reptilian mammalian hybrids on our way to becoming human. So this is the new, to me, the new paradigm is to make peace with yourself by taking each of the minds and making equanimity with them. You're not reptilian, you're not mammalian, you're not vegetarian or anything. You're basically like what yoga says, you're in union. Triality means that everything is going back to the source, the singularity. And so this is really like a coming home. And a lot of people, let me tell you, may not make this ascension or ascension movement here. This is a massive change. And it's just actually starting right now. But remember, there is, as you can say, massive change, but it's all good change. And so
it is.
Yeah, and it's really, what do you do to go ahead and actually go to the next ring?
So will you draw first? Will you draw? This is Chrissy's book.
Yeah, this is an excellent book. We sell this on the website too. Remember, everything's wholesale there. Everyone's got a free membership there too. And if you want to learn how to really impress your friends, wow, and actually have foods that are out of this world. Remember, the chocolate and or different foods that we want to service. Some foods feed our body. Some foods feed our glands in our brain. Some foods feed, like he's touching that rock, that's a food. That's feeding his electrical body. If you're eating live food, that's feeding your electrical body. Or you can actually, play around with the grounding, the sun. And this is the minerals. You don't have minerals, you can't conduct yourself to the stones he's playing with. You can't conduct yourself to the sun. So let's get a ticket.
Yay.
71325.
Numbers.
7.
She is actually doing a workshop tomorrow, a green soup that she's going to do, a raw green soup recipe back there. Fantastic.
713-257. Okay. Uh-oh, I think someone's coming.
Yay, do we have a winner?
Do we have a winner?
Woo!
All right.
Yay! We also have a beautiful DVD.
Well, there you go.
Congratulations.
There we go. She's a winner.
Yay. I'm just going to check your ticket really quickly. We'll do that. Fantastic. You got it. Woo.
Okay. Now,
That's
this one more.
Woo!
713-381.
And what are we giving away?
We're giving away.
Presentation that I had to go through very fast.
That
And-
is.
It's all there with the film.
Yeah, and these presentations are good, again, just like Eckhart Tolle. You listen to it like 10 times. Because each time you listen to it, you get a little bit of nectar more. Then you go to the internet and you actually investigate it deeper, and it sets in deep. Uh-oh, we have
Oh,
one.
we got a winner.
There we go.
Woo! Yay!
381.
Yay! So we're going to take another 10-minute break.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
You're welcome.
You guys
Oh,
are
James.
James, and we're going to really hone in on that first, the lower half, talking about bringing. This year is really about union. This year is really about becoming the teachings. This year is about walking the walk, talking the talk. And so how do you do that? Not walking around wounded, but completely healed. And part of that is the art of making love, or sexuality, the ability to carry that energy throughout.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powerful ascension tool, but the problem with sex is that because it is so powerful, it is the one that gets the most perverted, and it is the one that gets abused. And we've got to transform that perversion and that fear into divine reunion, okay? And the way we get there is through the love of another and through surrender completely to another. But you can't get there when you got a lot of candida because you can't trust. All right? Okay, you got to trust. So you got to do the work on yourself first, okay, before you can attract the right relationship. And if you're going to stay in a bad one that you know isn't working for you, then how are you going to attract the right one? So there's a lot of inner work that you have to do before you can get the kind of mate that you're looking for.
Let me just throw out one thing. You know, remember, your body's just it's a tune. Your tune will attract another tune equal to the same tune that you are.
Yeah.
So if you have as Eckhart Tolle says, if you have a very high-level pain body, you're going to find a partner that has one just like it.
That's right.
Okay, and
Do the work.
yeah, and what I found out, really, changing your relationship with yourself makes you so you can change the relationship with all of yourselves. Because remember, we're all selves.
right.
So if I feel good about myself, then I feel good about my other self here. It doesn't bother me a bit. If not, there is a duality system. We feel separated, but then again, we're not. But you are, because sex is a weird thing, but sexuality is not. So, you know, sexuality, to me, remember, 6 cycles is down here. That's where 6 cycles is. 7 cycles is right here. This is the chakra that spins. 8 cycles is in the heart. So when you have sexuality with the heart, and you can play the full chakra scale, it's a whole different game. But otherwise, down here by itself, when you're toxic, it's all toxic.
Yeah.
As
But the worst thing about it, though, guys, is that jumping in and, you know, out of, you know, just having indiscriminate sex. Ooh, I mean, all the.
What's wrong with having
Well, let me tell you what's wrong with it. Indiscriminate sex, where you're not connected to your heart, you're taking in everybody's parasites, all of their DNA, you're exchanging other people's DNA, and you're taking on their energetic body.
Their energetic body.
And the more of that you do, the more of yourself you're going to lose. Now, I'm not going to stop you from jumping around from bed to bed, but I just thought you ought to know that. Okay, and I figured that one out very early on, and when I was very, very young. I knew that there was something very sacred about sex, and that we were abusing it, and that all the pain that I saw in relationships, that it came from the abuse of something that I knew was meant to be sacred. So I think that the talk that's coming up next is a very important talk, because we all want that. We say we want it, okay, but what are you willing to give up to get it?
Well, her whole talk was on parasites, which is really, what do you think most of your sexual activity is?
Transmitting parasites.
It's the parasite, the Phaseolopsis busci, let's say, who's female, finds a male. Doesn't matter if you're a male or female over there, it's looking for a partner. Doesn't care if you're male or female, it's looking for a partner.
And it wants to spread itself.
Its job, think of it this way too. You get a 50-year-old man, and they get in trouble having sexual activity with a 12-year-old child. Wait a minute.
Something screwed up.
Okay, how about the giant schistosoma tapeworm is a really, really, really formidable species of alien. And it puts us under the spell for a period of time.
Mind control.
Mind control. And it gives you back your mind as soon as you have your little affair. And most of these people that are doing this actually kill the children for a reason. It's because they can't believe what they did. They got their self back and they go, whoa, what did I do? Well, now you're back to yourself, and the giant schistosoma took back it did what it needed to do. So most of the things that we do, once you find out, sexuality, when it's clean, is beauty.
Yeah.
But sexuality, when it's dirty, is just parasitically run.
Yeah.
It is. It's all parasitic at those levels. Yeah.
Right now, that's one of the biggest things, addiction-wise.
Yeah. Sex addiction.
A sex addiction, as well as not understanding it. There's not a great teaching or a workshop or an area that can say, this is within the realm of uniting parts of yourself. Mm-hmm. That sexuality comes into waking your complete self up. Napoleon Hill makes reference to this energy being the most powerful, useful creator within us. And when we know for ourselves 100% what that looks like, connected from all parts, all aspects, that's when your center, your groundedness, the form that caused you to be here, really lights up and activates every part of you. And so this is not something to shy away from. It's really something to learn more about.
But you know, not only that, it's time, guys, for us to heal this, okay? It's a gaping wound in our consciousness and our psyche, you know, all of the child abuse, all of the perversion. We know that something's wrong with that. And when I started doing the research on the parasites, and I got the confirmation of what I knew when I was 12 years old, I was like, wow, and nobody was listening to me. But this information is vital, and these parasites, their whole goal is to just take over and to proliferate, and whichever way they can transmit it, sexually, kissing, eating after people, that program is in them. They're going to spread it. And that's what you need to think about. And you're diluting your DNA. You're taking other people's DNA in you. Do a little research on DNA.
Let me just add one thing. You know, and people say, well, what do I do? Abstain from, I don't know, change your vibration. See, once you change your tune, you're not kicking things out of your body, you're transforming what lives at those lower levels. Think everything lives off of some form of energy, and it has to feed.
Yes.
These parasites, and a lot of them are psychic parasites, they're not even physical.
Yeah.
Okay, once you get rid of all your physical, most of your physical parasites, then you have the biggest sort of
which is your ego, the biggest.
Yeah, it's a psychic parasite's very simple to get rid of because you just have to observe it. A physical parasite's very hard to get rid of because it's actually physical and it lives in pollution.
Yeah.
So you're ridding yourself of pollution, really, not ridding yourselves of parasites. Parasites are only there for a reason. It's because we're dirty.
Yeah.
So if you take out the dirt, then the closet gets cleaned by itself.
I want to give everyone a break. Move around, hug people, use the restroom, get some food. We have some great food here, and then please come back within about 10 minutes, and we'll go into this in detail.